Well, hey, Stacey. No, I wasn't even gonna go there, but
Yeah,
since
you're
you put
going
the
there.
hand up, I will. How does it feel to lose at foosball?
How does it feel to get another partner for you on the show? Okay.
It was just one game. I
You know,
can't
here's the
claim
deal.
champion.
Here's why I'm a little upset. I'm not totally upset that you beat my pants off at foosball before we started this whole thing today. I'm upset because I didn't know there was foosball. Because when there's foosball, I get really into it.
Yeah,
And after you beat me 9-3, I was sweating like crazy. And I
yeah.
had to like take a mini shower up there in the dressing room because I'm like, I'm going to stink this whole
We
day.
wanted to make this place fun,
It
so
is fun.
we found the foosball table. I built the legs for it, bought the foosballs, and here we
It
are.
was good. Our guest today, I'm so excited. I told Jason you were a surprise guest.
Surprise guest.
Katelyn Lyster. So Lyster. So my full name is Stacey Powells Lyster. So
Yes.
we're
This would
related.
be Dan's daughter.
Yes, Dan's oldest daughter, Katelyn, is in town, and I'm thinking, oh man, we didn't have the 12 o'clock spot was filled. The person canceled, and so now last night, and you guys, what were you watching on television last night? You and your husband to be,
Sweet Tooth.
Sweet Tooth.
On Netflix.
Yes, and so I said, "Hey, what are you doing tomorrow? Do you want to get out of the house?" And her getting out of the house is a good thing because she's got a 7-month-old. It's Zayden.
Adorable.
Oh, he's so
That
cute.
picture you sent the other day when I was having my tea just really cheered me up, made my day.
He is really adorable, and he is everywhere. But he's all about mom.
Yeah.
You know, mom puts him to sleep. Mom does this, mom did that. And mom's like, I need a break. So how about doing a TV show? That'll be a good break for you. So Caitlin's up here because she's getting married
Woo!
on
June
the
Lake
property.
on the beach, right?
And then the reception at our house. Yep.
So are you guys doing it at the same place, the same beach?
It will be pretty similar to
Pretty
the
close.
location we
Down,
got married.
down a little bit
Down a
more.
little bit more?
Yeah, down a little bit more. Yeah,
Well,
it's going to be
congratulations. That's so cool.
Thank
it's going to be exciting. We got a whole bunch of family coming in starting
Family and friends
Yeah.
arriving, starting like a
Monday.
Yeah, Monday.
Yeah,
Wow.
a whole bunch of and so here's what's cool about having you on the show. First of all, I got to say, when there are blended marriages all over the place, and I remember when my mom first got her second husband Stanley after my dad died, he had 3 daughters, and they were so incredibly mean to her. I mean, just mean and nasty, and I really wanted to sock them in the head. I mean, that's how mean and nasty they were to my mother, who is not mean or nasty, or wasn't back then, you know. And I married Caitlin's dad, Dan,
Right.
in 2010, and I am so blessed with 3 of the most incredible stepdaughters ever.
That's awesome.
And so I just got to say that, live on the air, that I'm just so lucky to have the 3 of you
And
and
we call you Sma.
they do Sma
Ma?
for stepmama. Sma.
Okay.
To their Sma.
Yeah. It's not like smear.
No,
It's
I got it. Sma.
It is Sma. So I'm just very incredibly lucky to have the 3 of you in my life.
Very much.
Yeah, it's nice to have normal kids, some normal kids in the family. It's minor.
Lots of variations on kids. Yeah. And we love all of them.
We do love all of them. So your family goes way back here
Yeah.
in the Eastern Sierra. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I am 6th generation from having family in this area. My son will be 7th generation.
Wow.
My great 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 grandfather was one of the early cartographers in the area, and his daughter moved out here. He moved her out here when she was 16. She lost her mother to a tragic suicide early in her life. That was a combination of having her husband move across the country and being left with a young child. She had also lost 2 young children from early on in their time together, and it was a really incredible story. She wrote a book. Her name is Dr. Nellie. Her name is
Oh,
Helen
that's what
Knight.
this book is.
And so she came to Bishop, where she went to high school, and then she went on to study the medical practice in San Francisco at the San Francisco Toland Hall, which is where I live now. I live in San Francisco, and so it is a really incredible thing to share 2 locations of a place where women in my family have been for over 100 years.
Wow. What
And-
year was she at Bishop High?
So I think that she was at Bishop High in like the 1880s.
Wow.
Because she would have gone to San Francisco in 1890 to study medical school at 18. So it was
That is cool.
It was before the turn of the century. I mean, and this area was completely different. You know, there were lagoons in Bishop, and her father created the second map of Bishop that is like, I think, 8 feet by 4 feet, where he hand painted and drew all of the streets and the lagoons of the subdivision.
There were
of Bishop.
lagoons down here?
There's no dam
Yeah.
control.
Well, no, this was before LAPD.
That's what LADWP. But I mean, there was no dam control, so there would have been flooding and all like literally
Yeah.
where I live.
Yeah.
At times would be flooded. And
Yeah. Yeah. So
I have rivers
this was a very, very lush area. It was a very different area.
Well, when Chalfant wrote his book and they named it Owens Valley, they called this little Switzerland at the time, which tells you how green this was at that time.
Oh, I mean, you know, you have just a very different area.
Yeah.
This episode of This Crazy Life is sponsored by Stacey Does Weddings. Creating a fun and legal wedding ceremonies is a specialty for wedding officiant Stacey Powells Lyster. Her motto is any kind of wedding, any time of the day or night. Stacey will make sure that the culmination of all the wedding planning, the ceremony itself, will be a moment of grace and love, honoring the fact that the two people found each other in this crazy world we live in, falling deeply and madly in love. Be easy as saying, I do. Stacey will perform any ceremony, non-denominational, religious, non-secular, themed weddings, interfaith, hand fasting, and same-sex. Stacey also specializes in last-minute weddings. Call 661-433-9800 or visit her on the web at staceydoesweddings.com.
So before
book
LADWP took
This
over,
was-
this was like, well, I know the Owens Lake was the Owens Lake. It wasn't the Owens.
But I
whatever
don't
it is
want to
right
like totally trash DWP on that. They were
No, it's William
this
Mulholland.
whole
William
area though, the farmers and the citizens were petitioning the government to build dams because they needed to have some control. They couldn't control the creeks and the rivers.
There were, you know,
There were issues.
There were issues with the water control here. However, William Mulholland also
Took it all.
saw the opportunity for LA as a flourishing city
Right.
rise. So,
So
you know,
if
that's
we
another
would've-
story.
we would have controlled the water and flooded the lands where it would and kept it a little greener, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I think there would have, you know, been different, probably native practices that could
Probably,
have been
a
used
lot.
a little bit better.
Yeah.
So when was this book written?
This book was written, let's see. Nellie was born to Smith and Olive Peck McKnight in Petrolia, Pennsylvania, December 15th, 1873. This autobiography follows Nellie from happy days on the farm with grandmother McKnight to wretched days in a corset factory.
That was where her
That's where she, oh my God. So you're,
worked, and her mom had a horrible sewing accident, which led her to then later commit suicide because that was one of her passions.
wow. So see, corset factory to a Dakota homestead to Bishop in Eastern California to join her father, and then to a medical school in San Francisco. So yeah, and then she came back to here, and this was written, let's see, Dr. Nellie, A Child Went Forth. Jenny Smith books. We love Jenny Smith. It was written in 1934.
Wow.
It looks like, oh wait, hold on. Helen McKnight, 1873, she died in 1957, right?
Yeah.
Is that right? And so new material.
Buried just down the street. On
Yeah, you found, I
Eastline
would love to
Cemetery.
go see
Right
that.
here.
Yeah, Eastline Cemetery. Her
Yeah,
and her
so-
husband and they lost a child who was 4, in between my great grandmother and her brother.
Wow.
Wow.
So this is from the end, and I saw this. We made our first investment in a home on West Line Street, where the poplar trees marched like soldiers out on the country road that opened on a vista of Mount Tom. The hoary-headed Bignette Peak. Is that Bignette? Benignat? It's a French word.
Work that good for me?
You know what? I'm a writer and I still can't pronounce it. Benignat Peak that watched over the destinies of the town of Bishop. My office was to be in front of our home.
Yeah.
So on West Line Street is where,
Yeah.
oh, I wonder if we can find out where her first home was. You think that's still
I
standing?
don't know if it's still standing. I mean, so much development has happened in the
I wonder if
There's
the,
a few houses that exist and they keep it very, very quiet because they don't want the historical society coming in.
Yeah. there's
Really?
A lot of
So
regulations that have to happen with the historic.
would it have been where the reservation is now,
Mhm.
do you think? Or,
I don't know. I mean, West Line Street, how far do you think did she mention anywhere like how far out of town?
I don't know how
I
far.
mean,
Yeah, I mean, there's
think
this-
about it, the
I mean,
hospital would be
the cemetery.
down.
Yeah, I mean, the cemetery and the hospital are the two markers that I kind of nowhere. So I don't know.
Huh.
Wow, that is crazy. And I know that there was one point where somebody else in your family, I think it was your mom's grandmother, built what was that lodge up by Lake George?
So the Woods Lodge.
Woods Lodge.
So Dee Dee was her grandmother, my great grandmother. She often would go, and that was where, that side of the family would vacation and help. Yeah, kind of helped steward Lake George as a place of recreation. And recently, I found out that my great grandmother, Dr. Nellie's dad, had worked in the mines, and while he was living up there, had just lived up the street from our house.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
wait, where's Woods Lodge?
Woods Lodge is at Lake George up in the
You
Lake
can't get
Basin
there right now. There's still a whole bunch of
I
stuff.
know what you're talking about now.
Yeah, but the mining camps was
Yeah.
where he lived, and we live right down the street off of Mill Street, which was one of the first streets in Mammoth.
Right, and on the property, there's still a rail on the property from where the mine used to send the carts down full of ore.
Wait, at your place?
Yeah.
Oh, how cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've got some artifacts and stuff.
That is so
Yeah.
cool.
And we're going to be digging up a little bit of. We might find some. You know what? With the property improvement that you guys are doing because of your wedding, we may
unearth some treasures.
unearth some treasures there. When
Well, it was also an early Native American site, because there's been a lot of arrowheads. that we found. So
yes.
really honoring the people that were there long before.
Oh yes. I mean, that was a great place for a Native American to have a homestead. Because they were right below the bluffs. And then the creek was just not even a quarter mile away, from there. So I love that your family has so much history.
Yeah, it's a special place.
Yeah, in the Eastern Sierra. And for the wedding, they're doing one of the things they're going to honor in their wedding is the Native Americans and honoring the land.
It's just important to acknowledge the history.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question for you, and this is for all new mothers there. So honestly, no one's around. No one's going to hear this.
Nobody's going to see this.
No one's going to see this.
Cut this out.
So, because I see exhausted Katelyn. I see, here, can you take him? Because I need to go back to sleep, Katelyn. So,
and she's up anyway.
Sleep deprivation is a weird form of torture. And had I known that when I went into labor, that was the last time I would sleep, I mean, you can't do anything about that then. But
you can never predict how a kid's going to be. Some of them sleep well and some of them don't.
Exactly. It's a wild ride.
yeah, I mean, he's sleeping a little bit better than he was when you first brought him up, but did he sleep at all last night?
He did have a good long stretch, but because my husband snores and he just recently returned, I did not sleep that well.
Okay.
Have you heard of earplugs?
I had them in.
Yeah, I wear earplugs too.
Oh my God. So how is it everything that were you blindsided by anything? I mean, other than the sleep thing, I mean, how is it being a mom? Because I know that's something that you were a little anxious about before, and she was huge. It was the funniest thing. I mean, she's tiny. No, her belly. She's tiny, and but her belly was huge, and her mom and one of her sisters painted this beautiful
mandala.
On her belly.
Belly painting.
Yeah,
on the due date.
What do they call that? That dye.
Yeah, it was like face paint things.
Yeah. So, I mean, you've got a lot of help. You've got your sisters who adore their nephew, of course, and your mom lives close by. But really, he is all attached to you. It's so funny when she picks him up, he sucks on her chin. It's the funniest thing.
That's why he's like, there's milk here somewhere.
Yeah, close by. So how is it?